Alright, so this is basically our catch-up video plus Anchorman.
Yeah.
But we're actually not starting with Anchorman. Because that's just the order I put them in.
Yeah, makes sense.
Since we literally just got back from it, we might as well go ahead and talk about it. Our first movie is The Hobbit, The Disappointment of Smaug.
Yeah.
I said that wrong.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, okay, let's get that controversy out of the way real quick. Apparently there's like 3 different ways to say Smaug. I say Smaug like smoke and fog.
SMOG.
That's the easiest way. There's the Conan nerds are watching this going, oh, he's saying it incorrectly.
Yeah, make that noise too and push up on your non-existent glasses.
I'm sure Cumberbatch doesn't care.
No one knows how to pronounce his name correctly, so it's okay.
So, I felt like I was one of the only people looking forward to this, at least of the people that I know personally.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it made like, what, over 70 million its opening weekend?
It's doing quite well for itself. It even beat Frozen.
Well, because I unexpectedly liked the first one a lot. Like, it was one of my favorite movies of last year. So, and I couldn't get anybody to agree with me on that.
Sorry, probably because I slept through most of it.
And I'm one of the few people that didn't complain when Peter Jackson took this regular-sized book and made 3 Lord of the Rings sized movies out of it. Especially since it was originally just going to be 2. And then at the last minute he was like, you know what, let's just do another trilogy.
So this movie would have had a much different ending if that wouldn't have happened. Obviously.
I'm not sure. I think this is the one that was tacked on.
Really?
Because it was just going to be An Unexpected Journey and what's the name of the one? There and Back Again or Here and Back Again or
something like that.
Those were just going to be the 2. This one was like, and then I'd only learned at the last minute what this one's title. Not like the last minute, but when it got this title, I didn't know which one was which between this one and the next one. But all clear now.
This is the filler movie then.
Yeah, the catching fire of it.
Yep.
The Empire Strikes Back of it. Well, I'm trying to figure out where I should start. Let's talk about the good stuff. That's always a nice start. You do have... What action scenes are there are pretty well put together. I know I said that with doubt, but... okay. Let's just jump ahead to the spiders.
Okay.
Okay, so this is going to be one of those messy ones.
Whole lot of Harry Potter going on in this movie.
Yeah. There is this... Okay, I'm just going to throw this out there. For the first hour of this movie, I felt like I was on an acid trip. Because Bilbo kept taking the ring on and off, and of course when he's invisible, it goes into that blurriness, where it's like, we saw the 2D version, and it's like, did we accidentally walk into the 3D version? And everything's all fucked. I don't know, but...
3D is one of the 3D theaters. 3 is one of the 3D theaters, so that would have been possible.
Regardless, there's this good scene where they have to fight a bunch of big-ass spiders.
Yes.
And that's about the extent of it.
Uh-huh.
There is a second awesome action scene that goes on for quite a while, but I didn't mind. That's one of the big criticisms I heard, was that the action scenes go on and on and on. But obviously these were people that, weren't really looking forward to it, that were reviewing it, so I was like, fuck them. I'm sure they're wrong. And no, this action scene was fine. It starts with all the dwarves hiding in, like, wine barrels.
Yes.
And then they are expelled into this, like, deliverance-type river rapids.
Yeah.
And then they have to fight the, what's the orcs they were fighting in this scene?
I believe so.
Okay.
They all kind of mixed together at one point for me in the movie.
Yeah. And then we yeah, okay. Obviously, I was, I'll finish this and then I'll get to that. All over the place.
Hey, it works.
And there was this particularly interesting part of this where one of the barrels actually comes out of the water and starts to take things out completely uncontrollably. And it's just this, there are times where, this happens through the whole movie, but there are times where for some reason you don't expect this from these movies. I think the Rings trilogy did it a little bit too. There are a lot of times in this movie where the effects looked a little more shoddy than they probably should have.
It looked really cartoony too, like it was very animated.
Yeah. Maybe not as bad as the zombies in World War Z, but kind of in that territory almost.
I could see that.
Alright, I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there because I meant to throw this out there before I even started. Obviously I was up almost all night because I was freaking out because all the stuff, at one point in the night I thought all the stuff that was on my computer had been
deleted.
Yeah. So, I only slept for like 2 hours last night, which may horribly affect my opinion on this movie.
Potentially.
So, you can probably keep that in mind when you're listening to my opinion of it. I don't know how much of an effect that had on it or not, but regardless, the next thing, the time's still going.
Just making sure. I hate when that does that. And there's
apart from that,
sorry, go ahead.
So, I gotta say, I hate to say this because it sounds, I don't know. It kind of sounds like I went to the movie for one thing. You have the spiders, you have the barrels, and then jump ahead about an hour and a half, and you have the big Smaug scene. Scenes, I guess.
It seemed like it was never going to end.
It's just like one long 1 hour ending.
Yep.
Apart from that, not a lot is going on here. I'd be like, okay, this is what went through my mind, this is what I wrote down. Obviously the big joke, the big punchline that Lord of the Rings had to go through was, it's 3 3-hour movies of people walking.
Clerks 2.
But listen, it sounds warped. The way I'm saying it makes it sound worse than it actually is, but this is the thought that actually went through my head.
Okay.
I can deal with there not being many action scenes, because these movies are big on all kinds of different scopes.
True.
But at one point, we were having our 30th scene of characters whose names I don't remember. It was like watching fucking Game of Thrones. Characters whose names I don't remember and or I can't pronounce, having indecipherable conversations. I was sitting there going, okay, I'm this desperate. Where's the fucking walking, at least?
Walk and talk, people.
Can't we get well, what's funny is as soon as I wrote that down, we did get another sweeping shot of walking, but still, it took a while for it to come back.
It's very true.
If you can, this is everybody knows it. I don't know why you're trying to hide it so much. These are Lord of the Rings movies.
Yes.
If you're not doing an action scene, you gotta be walking.
Yes. Not standing there, walking.
There's a particular character I want to talk about real quick. He was in The Hobbit as well. I can't remember if he was... No, I don't think he was in The Rings. I'm talking about Lee Pace. Is it just me, or is Lee Pace's character in this movie him sending in his audition for Loki?
I can see that.
If you're having trouble remembering who he is, he was the attorney that was against abolishing slavery in Lincoln.
Oh, okay.
We also have, this is an interesting thing to bring up, especially in this season. It's not anything to take into consideration or anything. I can just actually say this, so I'm gonna say it. Evangeline Lilly got a Critics' Choice Award nomination for this.
What?
It's for their little best actress in an action movie thing. But nevertheless, you can still say that. And my problem here is that whole thing. Okay. I got a whole different beef with Orlando Bloom, but I'll get to that in a second.
Hey now.
There is this thing going on with her and this dwarf, who's not really much of a dwarf. They even make the comment he's taller. And this, I'm sure the internet had to have exploded when this scene happened. Do you recall an old internet thing, like a running joke across the internet about the guy that took an arrow to the knee?
Yes.
Okay, well, this dwarf guy takes an arrow to the knee.
Nice.
So, and they make this a really, really big deal. His arrow to the knee is focused on for like the rest of the movie. And we were halfway through it when it happened.
It's like Peter Griffin selling the knee injury.
Everybody that makes a movie knows that if your character gets shot in anywhere not in this area, it's not a big deal.
No, it really isn't.
And if you really want to go for realism with wounds, I don't think this is the movie to put your realism in.
No, it really isn't.
Okay. But regardless, aside from that, okay. Point being, the point I was trying to get to is, anytime we focused on the story that was going on with these characters, felt very, like it shouldn't be there.
Okay.
Because obviously, you think about, it's one normal-sized book and 3 very long-ass movies. Obviously, your mind can't help but dissect the movie to see what should not be here and what doesn't have to be here.
Very true.
The first one, I didn't really think about it. Because it was just kind of kept going. And it was fine. This one felt like there was a lot of shit that felt like the stuff, like the guy with, I don't even know who the fuck he was. Like I said, maybe if I was a little more awake, I would figure out who he is, but it wasn't Stephen Fry, but it took me about a half an hour to realize that it wasn't Stephen Fry.
Stephen Fry is in the movie.
Was that it? That wasn't him.
He's the master of Lake Town.
Was that it?
Yeah.
Alright.
In your sleepy haze, you still figured it out. Good job.
I did not know why we kept cutting back to him and his little Captain Hook lair.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just skip ahead to, obviously for fans of the series, it's worth noting the Gimli reference. Where, it's the first time we see Legolas again in this movie. And he's talking to the dwarf that very much resembles Gimli. And then he takes his thing from him. And he says, "What's this ugly thing?" And he says, "That's my wife." And then I got a huge kick out of this. It was his child, and it was an ugly child. And he said, "Who's this?" And the guy says, "That's my wee lad." But then, of course, he drops the bomb on us that his wee lad is Gimli. So, and you can actually hear the murmur in the theater. Okay. Let's go ahead and do what the movie probably should have and skip to the end. Oh wait, another thing worth mentioning is we do start to get, obviously when Ian Holm was Bilbo, we got a sense of that darkness in him. From where, because that's what the ring does and all that shit.
Yeah.
I'm really simplifying this.
Yeah.
We're really getting glimpses into the dark side that this is bringing out in him. Like Bilbo's almost got a really sinister quality to him through almost the whole movie. So now that I've addressed that, we can just jump to
the 7-hour finale.
First things first. Why the fuck did they show Smaug in the trailer? Seriously,
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm actually gonna bash the trailer for a second because that's obviously the trailer's not the movie's fault, so I can't bash it for it.
Yeah.
The trailer had the perfect ending, and then they kind of fucked it up. Obviously, the whole movie is building up Smaug.
Of course.
That's what the whole point of the movie is.
Yeah?
That's why the title is what it is. But we already know, and they keep him shrouded in mystery. But we saw him in the trailer.
Yeah.
But the thing that pisses me off the most about that is the trailer had the perfect ending before it revealed him. When we hear the giant sound.
Yeah.
And then they say, what was that? And he says, that was a dragon. And then it says the title.
Yeah. That's it.
That's where the trailer should have stopped.
Completely.
But no, they had to show him. Kind of...
It blew the spot so bad it wasn't even funny.
Yeah, that's why I'm not watching trailers this year.
I can attest to this. He probably will fall asleep at one point, given the fact that he just closes his eyes while the trailers are on.
I hear all kinds of interesting shit, though.
I can imagine what's going on through your head when you hear these things.
What was that last trailer? It sounded like E.T.
Something
about eyes?
Something about Echo?
Okay, anyway, and this is where I have a big problem. There is something that I really loved in the first movie. I know I'm being a little unfair. I keep saying, the first movie did this, and you're not doing that.
It's alright, no worries. Earth Echo.
That title didn't even ring a bell.
Yeah, it shouldn't.
Okay, I don't know if I'll get agreement with this or not, but this is just what went through my head. This scene, this very long scene with Bilbo and Smaug, should have been awesome.
Yeah?
But there's one thing that did not make it awesome. The first movie had a very famous, very, very awesome scene referred to simply as Riddles in the Dark.
Yes.
Which was the Gollum scene. And it is this fantastically awesome scene where basically Bilbo is playing a game of riddles with Gollum for his life. And the great thing about this is, I always refer back to the Luke and Vader fight in Return of the Jedi. Kind of like, I'm just all over the place now. I'm talking about Smaug, then I'm talking about the Unexpected Journey, now I'm on Return of the Jedi. But
That's alright.
we'll make our way back, don't worry. The Luke and Vader fight in Return of the Jedi keeps getting interrupted by the cutbacks to Endor. The Luke and Vader fight would have been amazing and a lot more legendary if it was just one long uninterrupted scene.
Correct.
Do all the Endor shit first, then do the Luke and Vader fight and let it be its own thing.
Agreed.
What's so fantastic about Riddles in the Dark in An Unexpected Journey is that scene goes uninterrupted. And it's like 15 minutes long. And that's what made it so effective and awesome.
Okay.
Smaug not only tries to kind of be derivative of that scene, but it interrupts it a lot.
Explain.
They just keep... The Smaug and Bilbo thing was never like it's... There was so much shit going on. There was really nothing. It didn't have near the effective quality that Riddles in the Dark did. And that was a lot they totally blew their load with... Obviously Riddles in the Dark had to be in the first one, but... That was... They weren't going to have a confrontation in this one that could live up to that.
That's a good point.
Even when your confrontation is with a big-ass dragon that is not only voiced by, but also played by Benedict Cumberbatch. And apparently there's a running joke on the internet where every time you talk about him in an interview being the voice of Smaug, he'll correct you and say not only was he the voice, he also did the motion capture. To the point that when he was promoting it on Kimmel, Kimmel brought up that he was the voice of Smaug, and Cumberbatch responded with, I also did the motion capture. And somebody in the audience actually laughed, and it confused him. Because he didn't know why.
That's funny.
I wasn't aware of that either. I actually had to look into it. Apparently that's the thing. That was like a... I think Tumblr made it a big deal. But regardless... yeah. I was very much... Considering how much I loved the first one, this one left a shitload to be desired, unfortunately.
Okay.
which is really especially disappointing considering I was the only person that I know personally that was anticipating this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's also worth noting there's another cool scene where even as much as I don't like Orlando Bloom very much,
He comes off like a badass in the barrel scene.
well, I'm especially talking about the ending when one of them is in a boat.
Oh, that's all in a catapult,
and he's up here.
That's awesome.
And the decapitation,
Yeah, I like that a lot.
the Maximus style decapitation.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that in a nutshell. It had a lot to live up to, and it didn't, which sucks. But maybe I will try again when I'm not on 2 hours of sleep. That might help a lot, but I don't know. I really don't know.
That's possible.
I know it might sound like a positive thing when I say I felt like I was watching Game of Thrones, but if you know how I feel about Game of Thrones, that's not a positive comment.
No, it really isn't.
Okay. So, I guess we can move on to Anchorman now.
Okay.
Alright. Let's reverse exactly what I just said. If there was one person in the world that was not anticipating Anchorman 2, it was me.
That's very true.
I was not a fan of the trailers. I really didn't laugh at them.
Nope.
I thought this idea was a bad idea. I thought doing the race thing was kind of a good idea, since the first one dealt with sexism.
Yeah.
But it just felt like they were going with the obvious shit. And like every joke was obvious. But the movie gave me a totally different vibe than the trailers did.
Yep.
There are things that are wrong, but we'll get to that in a second because it's really not that much. Alright. So, I think we're supposed to assume the lapse in time is pretty much the same lapse in time between movies.
That would sound right.
And everybody's gone on to their own thing, like, Champ owns a chicken restaurant that's... To make a long story short, it's bats but not chicken, instead of chicken. There's an explanation, but you have to hear him say it.
Yeah.
Brian is a photographer of kittens. He takes that very seriously.
Very, very seriously.
And everybody's under the assumption that Brick is dead.
Which you've seen in the trailer.
Yeah. I gotta be totally honest. The fact that that's the way Anchorman 2's trailer started reminded me so much of the fact that that's the way the Hangover 3's trailer started. But regardless, we're going into, obviously, plot. Ron and Veronica basically break up and get divorced. And then she's, should I talk about that cameo?
I don't know.
I think
there's so many things you want to spoil.
Everybody's in... Everybody... I think it was very highly publicized that he was in it. And it's also an actual part because he's actually in the credits, unlike the other cameos. So I'll go ahead and say it. Because it's not like spoiling the other cameos. Because this one's at the very beginning, so you know it anyway. They meet their big boss, who's a guy that's been shrouded in mystery forever. Mm-hmm. And that's Harrison Ford.
Yes.
And what he does is he makes Veronica the sole anchor and he fires Ron. So Ron goes and gets a job at SeaWorld and makes a drunken fool out of himself and goes to commit suicide by way of a fluorescent light, which was never going to work. But it was like Vanderbeek in the Rules of Attraction.
Yeah.
And then he gets found by Dylan Baker. You know what? I'm not even going to talk about happiness. Just Peter Parker's teacher. That's how you know Dylan Baker, most people. If I told you about happiness, you wouldn't sleep for days. But anyway, he has this idea. Well, he works for this 24-hour news network, which Ron thinks is a really dumb idea. But regardless, they take the job. He gets the band back together. It pretty much happens the exact order it does in the trailer.
Yeah.
But don't trust the trailer, I promise.
No.
And that's a good thing, to not trust the trailer. And of course, once again, going right in the order of the trailer, we have the dashing Anchor, who is James Marsden, who's perfectly cast.
Absolutely.
And I'll go ahead and mention another character who I thought was a cameo, but it's actually an actual part, and I think he's in the credits, so it's alright. Veronica's now with a Greg Kinnear.
Who looks like Tim Robbins from High Fidelity.
Yeah, he's got the ponytail and everything.
Yep.
And there's this he's a psychologist, and there's this running joke where everybody thinks he has mental powers, which may or may not come back. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just say this. I don't really... I had not planned on talking about this movie very much, because this is one of those movies where they were very smart about how they did the jokes. And normally when we we analyze stuff, as opposed to just saying, hey, this is good, next.
Yeah.
To analyze this would basically be to tell all the jokes, which I don't want to do, because...
They're really good.
Yeah, and you deserve to see them without knowing that they're coming. So I'll just speak as vaguely as possible about why this works and a couple of things that don't.
And Apatow's awesome soundtrack choices are back yet again.
Yeah, is this the first time we've seen that logo?
Yeah, first time we've seen the logo.
That's I loved hearing. The theater was full.
Yeah.
I loved the reaction to that.
I think I looked at you and like, what?
And everybody laughed because everybody knows Apatow's name, so
Yeah.
they knew that it was his production company. This one actually might be... I mean, I know I haven't seen the first one in a long time, but everybody knows the first one like the back of their hand.
Yes.
I don't know anybody that doesn't know at least 3 quotes from the first movie.
It used to be on a regular loop at my old place back in the day.
Having not seen the first one for a long time, I may or may not be jumping the gun, but this one might be funnier. I'm not really sure, but I think it might be.
You have an argument for sure.
And what I thought they were going to overdo, they didn't.
Nope.
Like the really obvious race jokes, like the I'll tell you this one joke because I have a point with it. Something they did that was really smart was obviously in Apatow's productions you have a shitload of improv.
Yes.
Like, you do maybe, let's say you do like 10 takes. It's not necessarily a Fincher movie, so we'll say 10, and not like 50, but let's say you do 10 takes for one scene. Every take will be a different line. So the brilliant thing that they did was those jokes that weren't that great, that people still love for some reason, that were in the trailer, those scenes are in the movie, but they use different takes. And the one joke I'll go ahead and throw out there that I was really glad that they changed was the scene that I thought would suck, where he's at, obviously Megan Good is his girlfriend now. So he goes to have dinner with her family, and it's a long table of him and black people.
Looks a lot like the Clumps dinner table.
Yeah. So he's basically saying very racist things. It also reminded me of the scene in Guess Who, when Bernie Mac is trying to get Ashton Kutcher to tell racist jokes.
Yeah, I remember that.
To set a trap for him. But these people are not liking Ron at all, because obviously he's doing the I'm trying to break down the barriers of race thing, but he's saying things that are very offensive.
Yeah.
In the trailer, it ends with him saying, which one of you convicts with the longest record can pass me the mashed potatoes?
Which made people in the theater laugh out loud.
Alright.
It wasn't that...
So...
It wasn't a strong joke.
So I was taken by surprise.
Yeah, very much so.
When he went to say the same line, but instead in the actual movie it's, which one of you pipe-hitting bitches is gonna pass me the mashed potatoes? Which ends the scene, by the way.
Yeah, completely.
You called my family pipe hit bitches. I guess that wasn't a good idea.
and she still, like, calls him for it, too. So it's like, it was your fault for taking me to the dinner.
Okay. There's a couple of things I don't know. Okay. I really like this movie. And I'm really glad that they were able to make it work.
Yes.
Because that was let's be honest. A lot of their fan base was going to love it regardless, just on principle.
It's true.
But I was really, really concerned about this working. Especially, since, like... any normal person can say this. Most of the time it doesn't.
Yeah.
So that's why... So it's, I don't know why I was the only skeptical person on this movie, it seemed. But anyway, despite how much I liked it, I do not hesitate to say it's too long. It's 2 hours. I know it's an Apatow movie, but there are 2 things that I didn't care for that are big portions of the movie.
And no male nudity, which is another thing Apatow movies normally do.
Well, it's PG-13. Rudd in the underwear was enough.
Yeah, that was very bad.
That's in the trailer, too.
Yeah.
I don't really like this person anyway. So this was never going to work for me.
And it was awesome because they didn't go with the obvious choice of putting Melissa McCarthy in this movie.
Yeah, at least.
That made me very happy.
Shitload of cameos. Somehow that wasn't one of them.
Thank God.
But that's the great thing. I'll bring that up in a second. Actually, I'll do it now before I forget. What was great was... this is actually skipping to the end. I was actually coming to a point, but we'll get to that in a second. I just gotta say this before I forget. Because I know I'll forget and I'll be pissed off later.
Yes.
The rumble in the first movie.
Yes.
Probably the most famous scene of the movie.
Yep.
And of course the punchline being that escalated quickly. That's probably the most quoted line from Anchorman now. It was all people that you recognize.
Yes.
And the expected people. Like it was Luke Wilson. It started with Vince Vaughn, obviously.
Yeah.
Then it was Luke Wilson. Then it was Ben Stiller. Tim Robbins seemed pretty out there, but at the same time, he's like... Tim Robbins is in Jack Black's circle, so it's not completely out of the realm. There is, without saying much, I don't want to say who anybody is, for the element of surprise. Because there's one particular big actor, very big actor,
yes,
in the news team brawl in this movie. It's not even a brawl in this movie, it's a war.
Yes.
And there's like double more news teams than there were in the Rumble in the first movie. A couple of them you would expect because they're in the same circle.
Yes.
Most of them aren't.
No.
These were random ass names that they managed to grab and pull into this movie that you would not be thinking. I'm sure you've already done this, but if you haven't seen it yet, it's already out, obviously. And it's been out for a couple of days by the time this video is posted. But
yeah,
if you haven't seen it and you haven't really heard much about it, don't go to the IMDb page because all the cameos are on it.
Yep.
And they have been for a while. Like I said, there's one in there, and as of today, that the movie still wasn't on that person's IMDb page, so it was very, very well hidden.
We're going to check right now at this very moment to see if it's still there.
Good God, it is amazing, considering who this person is that they kept it hidden. For some reason in our audience, he didn't get the biggest reaction.
No.
The people you're kind of expecting to see got the biggest reaction, but...
Nope, not on there yet.
Yeah, that was the one that blew my mind. Because that's not, I can't... When you see the IMDb page, you're like, okay, I now know all those people are in it. There are a couple of surprises in there that I did not know were in the movie. Because somehow, some way, they kept them hidden. I don't want to say any of them, though, in case there's some people that don't know.
Oh, there's so many great ones, too. And that's just an epic scene right there.
And there is, you may not, I don't know if you are aware of this or not. This one you might have to look up. I only knew it was her because I knew ahead of time because of the fucking IMDb page. One of the cameos in this war scene is from a distance, and you probably won't be able to tell who it is. But it is somebody you know.
Yep.
I said, just look it up later, and you'll be like, holy shit.
I think it's really funny. Without giving it away, it's kind of funny that we just mentioned Orlando Bloom a little bit ago, because it makes good sense if you go with a movie that I like very much.
Alright, so, yeah. And that scene is in the midst of, they're actually doing a funny thing where they kind of set up, this was interesting of them to do, and it was kind of random of them to do it too, but I guess, the jokes are the jokes.
Yeah.
They set up a big cliche ending, but then they somehow managed in the middle of the ending to twist that ending into a parody of the cliche.
Yep.
That was interesting. It's the, I gotta be in time for the recital cliche. And you have the, you have like the reserved seat, and it says, in all capital letters, he promised to be here. Well, he's stuck in this news team war. So okay, now that I've talked about that, let's go back to the two things that really didn't work for me, that are actually big parts of the movie. One of these might be considered a spoiler, but I don't think so I'm just gonna say it. Because it happens, not that late. And they drag it out for like a good 25 minutes. But we're not going to talk about that one yet. We're going to talk about the person I dislike I haven't mentioned yet.
Yes.
Still. I'm talking about Kristen Wiig.
Yep.
The other person that was with Melissa McCarthy in that movie.
Yeah.
Obviously from the trailer that she is this socially awkward person that is Brick's love interest.
Yep.
It is a funny idea to give Brick a love interest because it makes you wonder how the fuck that would turn out. Well, now you know, and, I'm just not, I have nothing against her personally. I know everybody's fucking in love with her. I just don't.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I'm not completing your thought. I don't get it either.
Also, another cameo is, not really much of a cameo because you probably don't know her by name, but you might recognize her face. Kristen Wiig's boss is played by June Diane Raphael, who is Paul Scheer's wife. She was on like a couple of shows that people I'm sure will recognize if they looked her up. I had the pleasure of talking to her, and she's very, very lovely. So, unlike her character.
Let me pick up that name you just dropped.
So, and I guess we go ahead and mention there is a, you want to know about returning faces.
Mm-hmm.
Fred Willard comes back, Chris Parnell comes back.
Yes.
Just for like one scene, but they're there.
I don't believe Parnell says a word.
I think he probably took the podium and then it got cut, if I had to guess. Faces. Christina Applegate's back. I think that goes without saying. There's one, I don't know. I think it's pretty highly publicized that he's in it.
It's a spoiler, but I mean, everyone should know. It's a duh.
Because he confirmed it himself.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Somebody who has a saintly mother comes back.
But that saintly mother still is not on camera yet. A lot of people were speculating that actually might happen this time around, but I guess not.
The other thing I didn't care for. There is this weird ass plot that comes from out of nowhere that the movie just veers off into. That makes it... This really made it way too long. This whole thing could not have happened. And the movie would have been fine. There is about 20 or 25 minutes of the movie where, I guess in a callback to Blades of Glory, Marsden manages to sabotage Ron Burgundy. And in this sabotage, Ron Burgundy goes blind.
Mm-hmm.
And lives as a recluse in a lighthouse. To top it off, he adopts a shark while he's at it.
Yeah.
Let it be known, the Dobie song is on the Oscar list for original song.
That's awesome.
Just throwing that out there. So, that's pretty much all I can really say, because I don't want to say what any of the jokes are. I've already said a couple of them.
Yeah.
So, as someone who was not looking forward to this, and somebody who thought this was totally a bad idea, I liked it pretty well and laughed pretty consistently.
Yeah.
It is one of the funniest movies of the year.
Too bad we had to wait till the end of December for it to come out.
It's just there's one really good scene involving the Kristen Wiig character, and that's when they, it's what gets her fired.
Yeah.
By the very lovely Jean Diane Raphael. But other than that, and the whole blind thing, I don't even know what the fuck that was for. I don't know. I really wish that wasn't in there.
Yeah.
It's nothing about being offended by blind jokes or any of that bullshit. The whole segment just doesn't need to be there. So, that's pretty much that whole thing. But yes, that doesn't seem to bother anybody else. So, you'll probably love the whole thing. Especially, just look out for those cameos. Just like, there's actually another one. There was actually a cameo of somebody. Yeah, I can say this. It's somebody that one of the leaders of one of the news teams is somebody that's not an actor, and it's somebody that I don't care for, and not really many other people care for.
No.
But just seeing him pop up in this role, I thought was fucking hilarious.
I can narrow it down. I'll tell you it's not Chris Brown. But there is a Chris Brown joke in the movie.
Yeah, then, like I said, I won't elaborate any further, but the lady killer's joke.
That's my favorite
gets
joke.
a big reaction.
That's my favorite joke of the whole movie.
Which is not referring to the Alec Guinness and or Coen Brothers remake of said movie. So we can go ahead and move on now before I give away anything else.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Okay, first off...
Okay, hold on, let me say this.
I want to start this review.
Let me say this.
Okay.
I don't know how I truly feel about Anchorman. I mean, when I was saying about The Hobbit,
okay.
I was so tired, I don't know my true feelings on it yet, probably. Well, let's just say we saw Anchorman the day after we saw this next movie. Maybe that made Anchorman look more hilarious than it was.
It's a possibility.
Okay. Because everyone in the world wants more than one Tyler Perry movie a year, I think we're about to get 3 a year now. There's always a Madea movie, and there's a dead serious one. Well, okay. And most of the time they try to be both.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Madea Christmas now. Let's start with the teaser trailer. Which luckily is not a scene from the movie.
No. Nowhere to be found.
Where he rips off Bad Santa, basically. There is a great Kevin Smith video online where he's doing one of his... It's like a podcast or something, and it's in front of a live audience. I don't know exactly what it is or what he calls it.
Smogcast.
But is that what it is?
Yeah, Smogcast.
Well, I heard this video, and what they did was... They were talking about this movie long before it came out, when the teaser trailer was released. And it was so satisfying to listen to this video because they played just a the trailer is maybe like 45 seconds long.
Yeah.
They played a portion of the trailer. They played about 20 seconds of it. Not the whole thing. Just a little portion of it.
That's all you need in this case.
And that little segment was treated to booing. The whole room booing at it. And that was incredibly satisfying.
Yes, I have to track this video down.
But obviously he has a fan base, so he's just gonna make them until he's dead. So, let's talk about this. Let's first talk about the concept. It's him doing his Madea thing, which has not changed from Diary of a Mad Black Woman was the first one. I think so.
Sure.
I'm
losing track.
The character hasn't changed. That movie, Diary of a Mad Black Woman, was like, what, 10 years old now? Somewhere around. I think it was like
oh my god.
I think it was like 2004, so I think it's almost 10 years old.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Nothing has changed about this character. It's the same old shit, the same old lines, the same fucking punchlines, the same goddamn everything.
And everyone still laughs at it.
Well, here's the thing. They've made jokes at, black people's expense. They made, I was obviously rather irate that Madea Goes to Jail, I think, which was in 2009, which I don't remember because it was one of the worst movies of 2009.
Agreed.
Pretty much every white person in that movie was a villain or a douchebag or an asshole.
It's a Spike Lee movie.
And then basically every possible offensive thing you can think of. My point is, the one stereotype they haven't gotten yet, he has not gotten to yet, was rednecks.
Yeah.
Which is okay, because everybody loves to make fun of rednecks.
Yes.
I like to make fun of rednecks.
Yes, me too.
Fuck them.
And Duck Dynasty, may you not rest in peace.
Yeah, at least that one guy's, fired or something.
Yeah, that show's dead. Thankfully.
However, okay, the Ku Klux Klan is in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, if that gives you any idea right off.
And it's not Chappelle Show style either.
Yeah, it's not clever, it's not amusing. It's there because they're in Redneck Town.
Yep.
And that's the way they establish it. I know I was trying to figure, that's why I paused there, I was trying to figure out how to convey this, because I talked about it being offensive when they do this, and now I'm talking about how much I praise them for coming up with the idea of why not, make rednecks look bad. First off, they don't do that.
No, not at all.
The Ku Klux Klan thing only lasts for one scene. It keeps getting brought back a couple of times, but after a while it's, rednecks are our family. All that. This has turned into a whole redneck bashing thing. My point is, this is the one stereotype he hasn't covered yet, and now he has. So he can retire and or die.
On his own private island.
But, so, obviously, with the way he deals with things, this is going to be unbearable.
Yeah.
I'm sure there is a movie that I'm having trouble thinking of that does a redneck stereotype spoof, and it works, and it's actually satirical. But I can think of it off the top of my head. Regardless, I'm getting lost here. This whole thing is just fucking with my head. Thank you, Tyler Perry.
Maybe Tucker and Dale?
Possibly. Probably. Okay, so... Okay. What happens here is we have Anna Maria Horsford. Is it Maria or Maria? I can't remember. Fuck it. She was the woman on the Wayans Brothers. And she's very racist. And she has, and that's explained later, she has, Maria, okay.
You're right.
She has a daughter who lives on was that a farm?
Yeah, it was a farm.
Okay. I was also very tired when I saw this. Or I was, dying. But
either are acceptable answers.
Regardless, the daughter has eloped behind everybody's back with the help, who is white.
Mm-hmm.
So, she is coming down to visit and spend time with her daughter, who she's not aware of married a white guy, who has white trash family.
Yes.
Whose dad is that guy.
Dan Whitney.
And his mom is, how do you say her last name?
Catherine Jimmy.
Okay. I know she's like this very well-respected comedian, and I can't even say her name.
Really, really playing a life version of Peggy Hill. Because she is the voice of Peggy Hill in King of the Hill, and it's funny to hear that voice come out, because that's exactly the same voice she uses in the movie.
She'd also be perfect for Neil Rudal's character in My Big Fat Greek Wedding 30 years later.
That's totally agreed.
Okay, so you have... Okay, so somehow, some way, they convince her that there's nothing fishy about the fact that the Helps family came in. The whole family came in.
It's Christmas. Why not?
Okay. Alright. So anyway, shenanigans ensue at the end. Oh,
Bye.
wait, I forgot, this is a Tyler Perry movie. No. Tyler Perry comedies do not consist of shenanigans.
No.
They consist of real serious shit.
Trademark, AJ.
That is, let's break this down. Let's Michael Keaton this.
Alright.
Let's break this down.
Fair.
That was more so Matthew Perry doing Michael Keaton on Saturday Night Live, but it's especially Michael Keaton from Night Shift.
That's how it works. Let's do this.
Okay. God, I wish I was on my Night Shift right now.
Yeah.
Tyler Perry wants to be so dramatic. He tries to cover so much ground.
Yeah, that's where he fails.
In one movie. Okay, let's talk about this. You have the whole scenario of she doesn't know her daughter eloped. Obviously that's going to lead to drama. You have this thing where you have the very smart kid. I didn't know where the fuck this plot was going for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It just was there. The daughter is a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And in her class is this really smart kid. And his dad is white trash Chad Michael Murray and Alicia Witt for some reason.
Yeah, it's really random cast.
Chad Michael Murray looking exactly like he did in House of Wax.
Yeah.
This movie had to have been shot in 2005. Because he looks like he was in Fruitvale. He was the one that shot Oscar.
Yeah.
He had the hair and he had the no facial hair. And, he's got his pretty boy look. And then somehow he just morphed right back into House of Wax Chad Michael Murray for this movie. It's just overnight, he just did it in his sleep. He just morphed. Okay, anyway, I'm getting sidetracked just like this goddamn movie does constantly. So, Chad Michael Murray doesn't want the kid to succeed in education. He wants him to,
work on the farm.
Yeah.
Take care of the farm once he goes away.
On top of this, she also wants the kid to sing in this Jubilee.
Yes.
Talk about this I would have loved to have known how many times the word Jubilee was said in this movie. And then, on top of this kid by himself has 3 plots.
Yeah.
The third plot is a statement on bullying. Which also is kind of the Chad Michael Murray thing, because the guy that married the daughter used to be bullied by Chad Michael Murray.
Yes.
So he's got to stand up to his bully, and the kid has to stand up to his bullies, and of course, the bully's kid is bullied now. That shit. Big Bully with Rick Moranis from 1996 covered that.
Yeah.
So that movie's really underrated too.
I like Big Bully actually.
And Tom Arnold's really good in it, despite what people say about it.
I think he's good in most of the stuff he does actually.
And here's the thing, okay? Here's how we deal with things. This movie wants to kind of have a statement on bullying, because, Tyler Perry gets all serious and shit. This is how Tyler Perry deals with bullies. Are you ready for this? Okay, first off, I guess to show that anybody can bully anybody, the kid's bully is a girl. Ooh, edgy. Well, here's the thing. Listen to this. This is how the bully is dealt with. So much so that the movie ends with them hugging. And this is long after this, too. This is a long reconciliation, apparently.
Yeah.
This is what happens to the easily offended. Especially if you're, like, a religious person. This is how you deal with the bully, okay? There is a scene that you just know is going to be the height of hilarity when Medea's left with this classroom, okay? Because the series of events just happens to lead to that.
Just happens to.
So, Medea's watching this classroom, and she sees the girl being a bully. And by the way, there's this whole thing where she tells the story of Christmas.
It's supposed to make the people that are going to laugh at it.
But no more questions about the story of Christmas, Madea style, please.
No, never.
The point I'm getting to is... Jesus. Pun not intended, but that's where I'm going with this.
Yeah, I know you are. I know exactly where you're going with this. This is wrong.
I just...
Not wrong for that reason, just wrong because it was bad.
Okay, you have this little girl that's bullying this kid. I'm just going to cut right to the chase because we built it up enough. What Madea does to teach this girl a lesson is Tyler Perry ties the little girl to a cross with Christmas lights and the thorn crown. To represent the thorn crown, she puts a wreath on her head.
Yep.
You're joking about putting the thorn crown on this little girl who is tied to a cross like she's being crucified.
I don't know how that scene got through MPAA.
I don't think Tyler Perry goes through the system. I think he goes through his system. That's why you see his name plastered all over his movies.
Tyler Perry directed this movie, created this movie, produced this movie, stars in this movie.
The beginning of Why Did I Get Married's credits actually say...
Yes.
I'm not exaggerating.
No, he's not.
Tyler Perry presents a Tyler Perry production of a Tyler Perry film. And then the first credit, of course, is Tyler Perry.
Well, as soon as you see that TP logo, you know you're in for crap.
Okay. Let's talk about some of the other shit.
Pun intended in this case.
Alright. Am I the only person that can't understand a fucking word Madea says? But here's the thing. This movie does this a lot. I've never really paid attention to see if the other movies do it, because I think I blocked them out of my head.
I try to.
But here's what happens. And it's so fucking awkward, too. Tyler Perry is under, unfortunately, the correct assumption that as long as he's doing his Madea thing, it doesn't matter what he's doing, it doesn't matter what he's saying, it doesn't matter the context of the scene. He knows that if he's in the Madea garb, and he's doing the Madea voice and doing the Madea thing, his fan base will eat it up.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to put any effort into it at all. I'm pretty sure a lot of that stuff wasn't even scripted. It was literally him saying intelligible things, knowing he could get away with it. Because as long as he was in the garb doing the voice, doing the thing, people were going to eat it up.
A lot of really random, pop culture references came out a couple of times, too. But that was about it.
So, there's no, it doesn't beat the Django reference in The Best Man Holiday.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And the weird thing that this does, especially in the goddamn Madea voice, is there will be scenes that don't go anywhere. And they have no purpose. And it's like he gets so caught up in doing his Madea thing, he forgets to say cut.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Tyler Perry, you're the director. By the way, it's your job to say cut. I hope you know that. Usually sometimes they have an AD do it, but most of the time the director does it himself, even if he's in front of the camera.
He's the AD, too. That's what you don't know.
He's his own assistant.
I want to see him with a piano in the background, making his own score, too.
God, he's not Shane Carruth.
We'll talk about him later.
So, but anyway, but the point I'm getting at is, so what happens when these scenes have no direction is he just keeps going.
Yeah.
Like when you see a lot heavily improv movies and then you read about them later and it's like, well, the director didn't say cut, so the actors just kept going and magic was made. I think Tyler Perry thinks he can do that.
He can't.
So he thinks he can go past what's scripted and just fucking ramble. And the scene will somehow turn into something that's comedic genius. Would you believe I said the words? It doesn't matter the context. I said the words comedic genius in the review of a Madea movie.
Oh my god. You have to get some sleep, Sarah.
Yeah, I already brought this up earlier, but let me just emphasize this later. That hiding the truth plot, where the truth will eventually come out, and there's confrontation, then there's sadness, then we have to wait for the sadness to end so everybody can make up. Fuck that plot.
Yeah.
Stop it.
We've had it how many times this year?
I don't fucking know. Let's talk about the truck. You know which truck I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna lay this down for you all, and you tell me if you think maybe possibly... I know none of you are, like, editing majors or anything, but just tell me if you think something's off here. Okay. So you have Chad Michael Murray, and he's pissed off about something. I don't even remember what now. And you have the guy that's married to the daughter. The guy he used to bully. Well, he's all, oh, I'm pissed. I'm gonna go beat up Chad Michael Murray. And he gets, I can't remember the reason now.
It's because, well, she got fired because of Chad Michael Murray, because the people...
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so,
I'm going to complete my thoughts so I don't sound like a goof.
So,
nope.
I gotta do this before I get mine.
Right on.
I already forgot what was happening in the scene.
Crash?
Okay, so, the guy... Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
In reverse.
Yeah, it's reverse crash.
Yeah, because the white person's on the inside, the black person's on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so Chad McElmore's pissed. He's in his truck. Other guy's pissed. He's in his truck. They're coming at each other. There's going to be like this big brawl between them. They're just going to beat the holy fuck out of each other. And you have the mom who's pissed because she found out. Oh, spoiler, sorry. Fuck off. So she's walking down the street all sad and shit. Lo and behold, on the side of the road is Chad McElmurray. And his truck is upside down and it's on fire.
This sounds so horrible right now.
And she has to do the Matt Dillon and Crash thing and save him.
Yep.
Which really doesn't have a whole lot of purpose. And here's the thing. The guy's truck has just exploded. And the mom's on the ground. This is his mother-in-law, by the way. She's on the ground. Because, you know, she was just near an explosion. She just saved this guy's life. And his instinct is to blow past her and to start beating the fuck out of Chad Michael Murray, even though the dude's truck just exploded. With him almost in it.
He wants to beat him down regardless what the situation.
This guy is a total winner. I could totally see why she was happy by the end of the movie to have him as a son-in-law. She's laying there on the ground next to a flaming truck, and all he's worried about is beating the shit out of House of Wax, Chad Michael Murray. Maybe it was Brian Van Holt's older brother. Remember how when House of Wax ended, it was there was a third brother, and it was the dude that gave them a ride.
That's true. We need to bring up House of Wax on Pop somewhere. It's down the road because of this.
The movie's PG-13. You can say shit all the time. It does say shit all the time.
Anchorman, prove that.
But for some reason, there is this scene... And it turns into a running joke where people start to say bullshit and they get cut off at bull. I don't know what that joke was, but that was in there. I guess because they were like, you know, they're like Mike Wazowski. These are the jokes, kid.
Yeah.
The mother. Notice we're not even gonna talk about the movie. I'm just leaving him alone. There's just nothing to say.
Yeah.
I
don't want to talk about Dan Whitney anyway.
It is revealed just when the Ku Klux Klan joke comes back. They're in their bedroom. It reminded me of a scene right out of... They were so trying to be Dustin Hoffman and Barbara Streisand and Meet the Fockers.
Oh, big time.
Which, this is really kind of what that movie is. But anyway, okay... For some reason, she's wearing a wig. And she's got, like, the bandana thing going.
Mm-hmm.
At least I think she... Yeah, because she's combing it, or brushing it. I was sitting here going, oh shit, it's Tyler Perry trying to be all serious. Oh, but she's got cancer. It's gonna do the Best Man Holiday thing. No, the fact that she wears a wig never came up.
Nope.
That was the only scene that brought it up, and it didn't go anywhere with it.
No, but I still...
Maybe he finally realized, you know what, maybe I got too much shit going on. And that was going to be a plot point, he just cut it.
His movies are going to be 3 hours long eventually.
For Colored Girls, it was like 2.5 hours.
That's one of his movies I did not watch.
Lastly, maybe you're interested in this shit, I don't know. There's a few cameos at the very end of the movie by people from viral videos.
Yeah.
Like, the one girl shows up just to say, ain't nobody got time for that. The one guy shows up just to say the hide your kids, hide your wife thing. What's his name?
Antoine Dodson.
Yeah.
Everyone knows the bed intruder guy.
I think there was a third one, but I forget who it was.
I have no idea who that woman was.
They were being interviewed for no reason, too. They were at the fucking Jubilee.
It's like the Foxworthy joke about everybody being interviewed about what the tornado sounded like. That's exactly what comes to mind right there.
Man, why couldn't they have had him in Damity's Place?
Oh, that'd be great.
Okay, it's time for our last movie. I'm done with this.
Before you do this, I do want to mention one thing that actually kind of popped me, and it's the only thing in the entire thing was a cameo. And it really was something interesting to see where they what poor department store they dragged her out of, because obviously she hasn't acted in a long time. There is a person working at the school that you probably know if you're a television fan from the 80s. It's actually Lisa Whelchel, which is Blair from Facts of Life. I thought that was a very, very interesting cameo. Yeah, the last time she worked was in 2001. So yeah, that's pretty much all she does. She's been Blair her entire life.
Yeah, that 2001 thing is a Facts of Life ring.
Yes, it is. So yeah, I thought that was really interesting. They dragged her out of whatever department store she is now selling makeup at.
It was the department store that was in the movie.
Yes, it was. It's a shoe department store.
They found her there when they were scouting locations. Okay. We get to end on a good note, thankfully. Despite what you may have heard, this movie came out 13 days ago. We'll say 2 weeks, just to be safe. This movie came out 2 weeks ago, and you've probably already heard enough negative things about it. I'm going to tell you that that's wrong.
You're wrong.
Here's the thing. I was a little worried. Well, I wasn't worried, but I was wondering. When the movie starts, I was thinking a lot about killing them softly.
Yeah, I can see that.
All the way to them having the election on the TV to set a time frame. I don't know what the point of that was. I always think killing them softly was like a very unsubtle parallel thing. I don't know what the purpose of it was here. Unless there's something I'm not thinking of, but I don't think so. But anyway, we're talking about Out of the Furnace now. I'm sure you probably heard your friends or family or somebody you know or somebody you read about say, it's not very good, it's boring, it's plotless, just all kinds of bad things. This is one of those movies where you can't go into it expecting something extravagant.
No.
Like, there were some people, some critics said they see it as simply a performance piece. Like, it doesn't even exist to have a story or anything. It exists for good actors to be able to do what they do.
Okay.
I think the story is intriguing enough. The trouble is, if you saw the trailer. Obviously, if you saw the trailer, you know that Christian Bale and Casey Affleck are brothers. And Casey Affleck gets mixed up with Willem Dafoe and Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe is actually rather trustworthy. Woody Harrelson is we'll talk about the first scene of the movie in a second.
Yeah.
He gets mixed up with him, and then he disappears, and then Bale is looking for him. That's what you gather by the trailer. The movie is 2 hours long, and Casey Affleck, the plot that you discovered in the trailer happens about an hour into the movie. That's how much build-up we have. But the thing is these characters are so interesting, and just the way they interact and their motives, and the actors are so amazingly fucking good at it. I did not feel like I was waiting for something to happen.
No.
I was just able to go from beginning to end and stick with it. In a really good way. When those movies that take forever for something to happen really, really work and are good at what they do, I love those movies. But it's a very tricky thing to make it work. But it's just... I can't even put my finger on what exactly it is this movie does so right about it, but I never, ever found myself waiting for something. I was always right there with it. So let's talk about the first scene of the movie. You have... well, there's a couple of things in the plot that you don't learn from the trailer. Maybe I should go ahead and mention those, because they happen fairly early. Obviously you know that Bale is with Zoe Saldana.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that he gets involved in a drunk driving accident and accidentally kills a mother and child.
Yeah.
And ends up going to... We don't know exactly how long, but he ends up going to prison. And when he gets out, Zoe Saldana has left him for Forrest Whitaker, who is a cop, oddly enough. And there is this really weird... I don't know why this started. This is pretty much my only complaint about the movie. It is just a really, really tiny thing.
Alright.
The over-establishment of things can be kind of off-putting, especially when it's like really in your face. So, and there's this one scene, they're talking about Zoe Saldana being with Wesley.
Yeah.
Of course, Wesley is Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah.
But the way the movie establishes that is this one little tiny scene where she works at a daycare, and Forrest Whitaker is dropping her off. And she's getting out of the car, and Bale is watching her from a distance. It's not as creepy as it sounds.
No.
And she turns around, and she says something to him. And the way the audio is, like the way the sound is, when she talks to him, the name Wesley is the only audible thing that she says to establish... Like, they might as well have, like, 3 arrows pointing to Forrest Whitaker that say, Wesley! For some reason, that stuck out to me, but... regardless, we go on. I say regardless a lot when I don't really have to.
It's alright.
It's my in-between word, like,
Mine's here's the thing, obviously.
So let's talk about the first scenes of the movie now. Jesus, this scares the shit out of me.
Things keep falling during this. That's the third thing that's fallen on the ground during this recording.
Alright, we got 20% of battery remaining, so I gotta throw that out of the furnace pretty fast.
Alright, good times.
The first scene of the movie is Woody Harrelson at the drive-in with his girlfriend, and they're watching Midnight Meat Train. It took me a second to figure out what they were watching, but that's what it was.
I was trying to figure it out myself, but I couldn't.
Vinnie Jones sitting there with the dead giveaway. So, Woody Harrelson is puking. We don't know why. He says it's because drive-in food makes him that way. I don't know. And she's laughing at him. So he takes her hot dog away from her and shoves it down her throat and then smashes her face into the dashboard. And then when a guy tries to intervene to make sure everything's okay, Woody Harrelson gets out of the car, beats that guy almost to death, and threatens anybody else that's going to come near him. And then we get the title, which basically tells us Woody Harrelson is one of those uncompromising people. Now the thing is now we're sideways.
Hold on, I got this.
Woody Harrelson, Jesus Christ. Woody Harrelson is one of those characters where we don't really get... Y'all have motion sickness now?
Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
Woody Harrelson is one of those characters where we don't really get much of a backstory on why he is the way he is. We just have to accept it, because sometimes there are people who are just like that.
Yeah. And
what's really great is they establish that with one sentence. Like, Woody Harrelson says one sentence in the movie, and I totally bought him as a character. It's when he's in the back room with Willem Dafoe, and he is basically, threatening him and telling him he needs his money. He calls him a cunt.
Yeah, he does.
And Bale hears this and tries to help Willem out and basically walks in and breaks up the meeting. So Woody Harrelson's walking out, and he stops and he just glares at Bale. And Bale says, you got a problem with me? And Woody just looks at him and says, I got a problem with everybody. And then he walks out. That one sentence, it pretty much says everything you need to know. You need no more backstory on him. Though we do learn that he is a drug addict.
Yes.
That helps.
A heavy drug addict.
Yes, and a backwoods redneck. So let's talk about some other things. Yeah, there's this really great scene where he meets with Casey Affleck, and he's doing a thing where he's got a sucker in his mouth. And they have this meeting, and basically Woody Harrelson's trying to intimidate him. And they make Casey Affleck leave, and then Willem goes back outside to try and smooth things over, and he just says, does he think I'm supposed to be afraid of him because he sucks on a lollipop? So, they, like I said, all the performances are great. Like, let's talk about Woody Harrelson some more, actually. The thing about that is people and critics tended to cry that he was a caricature. But, like I said, you look, research like bullies. Just people who do the shit that they do because that's what they do.
Yeah.
He's just one of those people. And those people are definitely out there.
Yes.
Which makes his character all the more frightening. It's like every time he's on screen, you get, like, nervous. Bale, I think Bale's the best of the cast. Because he's got the whole movie basically on his shoulders, and his character has a lot to him. Like, he has you sympathize with him, and then he gets bloodthirsty. Sometimes he's even comedic in scenes, despite the bleak as fuck thing this movie's got going on. It's probably one of the bleakest movies of the year.
Yeah, easily.
If not a couple of years. Casey Affleck is also getting called out a lot. He is really good. He's probably the second best of the cast. It'd probably be Bale, then Casey Affleck, then Woody Harrelson. Next would probably be Willem Dafoe, who I've always loved. And he's very interesting because you don't know if his character's threatening or if he's an ally for some of it. Because for most of the time, he's kind of unseen, and we just know that Casey Affleck owes him money. But then we learn that that's because Willem owes Woody Harrelson money, and there's a whole different thing going there. Zoe Saldana wasn't bad, especially in one particular scene on a bridge that's really good for her and Bale. Sam Shepard is there, and he does his wise man thing that he often does. Mud, most recently.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Forrest Whitaker for a second. I thought he was fine here. I don't think there's been a time where I didn't like Forrest Whitaker, but he's doing something different here. I don't know how to say this without sounding weird, so I'm just going to say it the way it's coming out. Forrest Whitaker is known for a very soft, comforting voice.
Yeah.
He has a bedtime story voice, more or less. For some reason, for this character, he's doing this deep, gruff thing. I don't know where that decision came from. And but that's the problem, though, is obviously since I had so much time in between when this movie came out and when I actually saw it, I skimmed through some reviews, and some reviews brought it up. Even though it is a lot different from his normal voice, and it probably is off-putting, I don't think I would have really noticed that much if I hadn't had it pointed out.
Good point.
But I don't know for sure. So, that's one of those annoying things. I will say one of the only bad things this movie does is, the old Silence of the Lambs thing, where, I won't say where, but when you think shit's going down in one place and somebody is in a totally different place, the Buffalo Bill raid from Silence of the Lambs did that. This movie does that.
Yeah.
Just one time, but it's
still there. That's
a cliche that's a little played. Even though it fucking gets me every time. Maybe I'm just bitter. But no, I really like this movie from beginning to end. And you do have to be able to make sure you handle how fucking bleak it is if you're going to go into it, and how it doesn't get right to the direction it's going. But if you're willing to stick with it, it's definitely rewarding. And it's one of those movies where it's actually, I almost call it one of the best movies of the year. It's one of those movies that's actually getting better in my head like every day. Since we saw it today's Thursday, we saw it Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just getting better in my head, so I would highly recommend it, even though it's probably going out of theaters by now.
Right,
So
we lose it this week.
It didn't do very well unfortunately.
Actually, it's funny that you mentioned that, how bleak it is. It's something we talked about immediately. When it comes down to it, there was a customer the other day that was asking if he should go see Out of the Furnace, and I said, yeah, definitely, but prepare yourself. It's very, like, depressing. I was like, whoa, you make me not want to see the movie. I was like, no. Let me explain. When I say it's depressing, I mean it's not really like a happy ending. Like, it just kind of abruptly ends.
Yeah, not to give anything away, I'd like to point out that I don't know what that last shot is.
That's the first thing the customer asked me when I came out of the theater. Is like, what's that last scene about? I was like, I don't know. I can't tell you what that scene's about, because I don't know.
We can't say it either, because it's a huge spoiler. But
yeah.
That's it.
Alright, so we got a lot of AJ coming up this week. So we've got obviously later tonight, Impact, Final Resolution. Looking forward to that. So tomorrow, we're a big packed day of movies. American Hustle, your first time seeing Saving Mr. Banks, and my fourth. And Walking with Dinosaurs, that'll be tomorrow. We got a brand new Versus coming out on Sunday. Cryptic Comment to be announced at this point, so don't have it yet. We'll hopefully for the Impact video. And we're going to be watching Dallas Buyers Club and Philomena on Monday, so hopefully Monday we'll get that taken care of, if not a couple days after. Along with maybe something else. Blue is the Warmest Color is coming to this channel as well, too. So that's another thing that we're going to be talking about. And keep tuned in, because Mandela and Diana will be coming in the near future, we'll say that. And Inside Llewyn Davis, I found out, is coming to Athens. So, yeah, we're going to get that hopefully before the first of the year. So, sorry about the motion sickness. The phone was about to die. So I had to plug in the cord, and we got really sideways for a second. AJ was half on camera for a minute, so yeah, that's when I own screw up. So sorry about that. So AJ, do you want any parting thoughts for this video?
That's it.